Hi guys, I'm back with a new tournament, and this time I'm playing a Swiss tournament, which means that we are paired in groups, and I'm playing against everyone, so there are 5 games because we are a group of 6. And we are the second group, which means that our group is the second strongest, and pretty much everyone is rated around 1700. As you can see, I gained a lot of points in the last tournaments, so I'm pretty confident and I want to gain even more. So this is the first game. I'm playing against a kid which is pretty strong. A few months ago it was rated 1500 or something like that. And yeah, it might be a bit underrated. So let's see what happened. I played e4 and he replied with e5, knight f3, knight c6, and I decided to play the Rui Lopez with bishop on b5. At this point you can play two things, basically. Knight f6, trying to go for the Berlin endgame, or a6. And he decided to play knight f6. Now the Berlin endgame, it is considered to be pretty drawish, but at really high level. But in reality, it's not easy for black to survive that endgame, so I have no problem going for it. So I decided to castle, which allows the knight to take the pawn. If you don't want to go for the Berlin endgame, you can play d3 instead. But yeah, I decided to castle and he took. So I was sure I was going to reach a Berlin endgame. So the move now is d4. And you're supposed to play knight on d6 in order to attack the bishop. But my opponent played the move pawn take, which is a mistake. I thought for a second that this was theory, but I also thought that this might have been a mistake from my opponent because, I mean, even if it is theory, I'm going to play rook e1, which is what I played. What am I going to do now? Because if you play d4, I take the pawn, I'm threatening to win the knight, and I'm threatening to take, so it's completely lost. So you might play f5, for example, which Stockfish is suggesting, but my opponent played d5. And I was sure this was wrong, because after you play d5, I can just take. So this is the opening, and I'm already +2. Why? Because first of all, I'm threatening to play f3, and I win the knight. Second, if you don't defend the knight, I just take, pawn take, bishop take, check, and I'm going to win the rook. So you have a lot of problems. And he played bishop on d6. This is crazy. So he's giving me this, but he's going to have some counterplay. Now, I didn't believe him at all. I thought this was dead lost already, so I decided to take. My opponent took the pawn on h2. And now I had to be careful, because if I take the bishop, it's a draw. If I take the bishop, there is queen h4, king back, queen take, king on h1 or h2 is the same thing, and it keeps checking me. So this is it though. I cannot take the bishop, and I saw this move, of course, but I thought that after this happened, I could have played king on f1. If I play king on f1, I don't see a clear way for him to win, and still up a piece, and I'm still threatening to play f3. That's the problem. So for this reason, I played king on f1. King on f1 is a mistake, and as it turns out, all of this stuff was the prep of my opponent. This kid prepared this line where you lose a piece in order to have a really strong attack. Although, the move now is queen h4. If you play queen on h4, you are better with black, even though you are down a piece. You play queen on h4, and I thought that after queen on h4, I could have just played queen on f3, and I don't see a clear problem, to be fair. Short castle and you win. Well, he's saying I can play knight on e7, deflecting the queen. Okay, but let's say I do nothing. Let's say I go back. Yeah, there is bishop g4, and I lose. g3, knight take. Yeah, okay. This is pretty complicated stuff. So you need to know this stuff. Okay, you know what is the best move at this point? The best move is, instead of playing king on f1, is playing king on h1. If you play king on h1, it's still +3. And the point is that after queen on h4, you sacrifice the rook. Pawn take. You give a check with the queen, with the 8 queens, and you win the bishop. That's the point. So, I should have seen king h1, you sacrifice the rook, you trade queens, and you win the bishop. I didn't even think about king h1 because there is queen h4, so it doesn't make any sense to put the king in front of the queen. But yeah, it was the best move. And apparently I did everything wrong and I played king on f1, which is a blunder. My opponent though played queen on f6. And if I play queen on f3 or queen on d4, it's +4 and I basically win the game. What I did instead wasn't wrong but wasn't the best. I decided to play knight on e5. The point is that I'm giving a check, and after you block this way, I go back. Defending the checkmate, you can win the bishop, but if you take the bishop, I'm going to take the pawn, and you lose the knight. Anyway, so it's fine. He decided to castle, because he still wants to attack, but at this point, I can just play bishop on d3. So I played bishop on d3, I still have a piece, I saved everything. I'm threatening to take the knight. If I can take the knight, I win, because I removed this really annoying attacker. I'm not going to get checkmated. He played bishop on e5, and the point of bishop on e5 is that if I take, he takes, and it gets pretty complicated, so I decided to avoid everything and to play knight bd2, which is also the best move. What is the point? First of all, if you take, I mean, I guess I just take, queen take, and we can trade everything. I'm going to win a pawn, so this is not a problem. I also have rook on b1 in the future, so yeah. It's not the best move. And if you take my knight instead, I take with the bishop, and I'm threatening nasty stuff. Let's say, if you take on b2 now, I can probably play bishop on g5. Yeah, I saw these. Yeah, queen d6 and I have these. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you cannot really take on b2. That's what I saw. And yeah, I think I calculated well. And at this point, your bishop is under attack. So you need to do something about that. And he decided to play bishop on g4, which is inaccurate and is almost +8. Why? So I cannot take the bishop because the knight is hanging. But I don't have to take with the knight. I play the move, rook take on e5. What is the point? If you take with the queen, I just win material. As you can see, I have 3 minor pieces, and 1 rook against 2 rooks is dead lost. And if you take the knight instead, what I saw was the simple, really strong, queen e1. What is the point? My rook is defended, your bishop is under attack, then threatening bishop g5. And this. Move the bishop, bishop g5, queen d6, bishop e7, a fork. I'm attacking the rook and the queen. Now, he played queen on h6, and you need to be careful. We are playing classical, we have time to think, don't rush. If I take the rook, I get mated. That's the problem. But I have the move that not only saves me, but allow me to win even more material. Because I can play f3. The point of f3 is that if you give me a check, I can run away, no problem. And your bishop is hanging. So, he played rook on e8, and at this point, I mean, I'm not scared, I'm already up a piece, I'm fine if I'm up to piece 2. So yeah, I decided to take the bishop. He decided to play f6. It weakens the square on e6, so in the future they might put a queen there. So yeah, I don't really love that move. I played rook on e2 to be super safe. You could play rook on e6, but I wasn't sure about this move. So yeah, I just played rook on e2, which is pretty safe and I have no problem. It gave me a check, but there is no problem. We can hide the king. You can keep checking me, I can hide the king, and I'm going to be safe, and I have 2 pieces. So he decided to take the pawn, and now bishop on d6. So in order to win this endgame, we just have to trade everything, and it's going to be the easiest endgame ever. If you do not trade, I'm going to play queen f2, rook on e1, and you're probably going to get mated, so you need to be pretty careful. He decided to give a check first. I can play king g1, so this check was, I think, probably wrong, because now you have 0 checks. He played d4. I don't understand this move, although it's also clear that you can't do anything. You don't have a check. I'm up the couple of bishops. So you can just sit and wait till you get destroyed, or you can resign, basically. So I decided to play queen on f2 with the idea of doubling rooks. He played c5 again, is wasting time, and I give a check first, so you have to play king on h8, and now I'm actually threatening to mate you if you're not careful, because the king can't run away. So I played this, and he decided to play b3, and now, as I said, the way to win this endgame is trading everything, because we are up 2 minor pieces. So, rook take, 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 the queen take, and now the only thing left to trade are queens. Best way to do that, since the king can't run away, is using this as an advantage. And I played queen on e2. The point is that if you do not trade, I have queen on e7. And in this position my opponent resigned. With a good reason. I'm threatening checkmate. And I am attacking the queen. So if you do not want to lose the queen, you have to move it and defend checkmate. So the only move is queen c8. But since I have a bishop there, we can trade. And that's it. You cannot push the pawns. You just can't. You might try something like this. Alright, my plan is going this way and win everything. Chop, chop, chop. Yeah, and there is nothing you can do. I have the couple of bishop, you just have a king, and it's over. So obviously my opponent resigned, and that was the best decision. So, what can I say about this game? It was a pretty good one. Despite the fact that I blundered with king on f1, although it's not super easy to understand what you're supposed to do. But I think this is a pretty good example on how much you should be prepared if you decide to play a line where you sacrifice material. And with material, I'm not talking about a pawn, you're sacrificing a piece. So you need to be super well prepared. Because if you don't know how to punish blunders, because king f1 was a blunder, and you play a different move because you don't know theory at that point, you're going to get destroyed. So before playing something like that, you should be pretty well prepared. And it is also a big risk. In classical, people have a lot of time to think, so I wouldn't suggest you to play anything like that. But yeah, I won the first game. I won some points, which, I mean, is always a good thing. And I see you in the next video with round